We've had a little bit of a break, which is unusual. So thank you for keeping track of us and joining me again today. Life on the farm has been really exciting. It was the beginning of retreat season at the beginning of April. And so we've had retreats every weekend, and we have another one starting tomorrow. Great group of folks coming in, lots of people, 16 of them. I'm very excited to welcome them back actually to Big Raven Farm. So we've been busy in the preparations of getting their rooms ready and preparing their meals, getting flowers set in all of their rooms. It's really been a great time of year. Darren and I are so grateful for all the folks who come and stay at Big Raven Farm. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll have to check out the retreats page on our website. We've got plenty more that you can come and join us for before 2025 concludes. So that's what we've been up to. And now let's talk about like crafty things and things that make us oh so happy on the inside. Today's guest, I'm sure you've seen her on social media or maybe you've picked up her book. Cindy Ingram is my guest today, and she is an artist, an author, a creativity coach, and she helps people reconnect with their creative voice through art, emotion, and self-discovery. She is the founder of Art Class Curator and the author of Art is About Being Whole. Art is About Being Whole. I love that title. She blends art with reflection and leads heart-led coaching to inspire wholeness and creative healing. I would like to sign up for that, please. That sounds amazing. So let's talk more with Cindy about all of those things. Please welcome Cindy Ingram to the Happy Time Craftcast. There she is. Hi, Cindy.
Hello. Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So first question, Cindy, you're an author. Like in your hands, you hold a book that you wrote, created, and crafted. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah. So I always was a writer. Since I was little. I used to write poems. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I was going through a really bad burnout. And I had been growing this business, Art Class Curator, and I was just at a point where it was after COVID. Like we had a huge boost during COVID because people needed curriculum that worked online, and mine worked really well online. And but then I just totally burnt myself out, and I was trying to sort of piece myself back together. And in the years leading up to that burnout, there was this sort of slow decline in the use of my creativity. I stopped doing the writing. Like someone on my team did the writing. I even stopped. My whole job was looking at art and helping teachers teach it. And I stopped going to art museums. I stopped like clicking the links that my team would send me about art. Like I was just like completely devoid of like the things that like bring me the most joy.
Right.
And I was like, there's just something missing. And there's something about the way I interact with art that is different than anything I've seen. And so I started to like really think about, if I could strip everything away, what art is to me.
Right.
And it wasn't about teaching it. It wasn't about like the history of it or the technique of it, that it was about like the soul personal connection and what you can achieve. Achieve is a bad word, but what can happen when a person interacts with a work of art. And so I started to sort of play around with what that would look like. I started running programs where we kind of look at art and talk about our feelings. And then I just started slowly writing this book about that powerful connection that happens between a person and their art. And it started out more like an academic type of thing. I was taking stories from other people, and I was like, this is going to be a book telling people about the power of art. But then at some point, it became a memoir because I was like, no, I need to actually show them what this looks like rather than tell them that it's possible. So then it became a memoir about my connection to art. And every chapter...
I have so many questions.
And every chapter is an artwork that I interpret to tell my story. So I use it kind of as a metaphor. So like there's a chapter on shame, and there's a Frida Kahlo artwork that I use as kind of to interpret that and put my story in it, and kind of and spoiler alert, by the end, I start making my own art, which I haven't done in 20 years.
So, okay, can you hold up your book? Hold it up. Oh my gosh. Okay, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And where can we get it?
You can get it on my website, cindyingram.com. You can get it on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, that sort of thing.
Well, that's got to be exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. Okay, so you said something that I kind of want to go back to, because I think like we've got folks here live, because we talk about it a lot in my communities, and we talk about because some of the feedback I get quite often is, Joleen, how are you so creative, and how do you come up with these things? And my response is always that I think creativity, for me, in my experience, it's muscle memory. And the more I stretch the muscle, the more I get. And when you said moments ago, a decline in your creativity, that's kind of resonating with me right now, because I'm in a season where I'm really busy with the tactical side of my business. People coming to the farm for their retreats. And so my creativity really is on the focus and care of other people, and not so much in the practical, I'm cutting, gluing, taping, mosaicing. Like, it's not really that right now. So what are your opinions on this I'm just not creative thing that some folks say?
Yeah, I agree with you that it's not everyone is creative, and creativity comes with action. It comes with doing. Like, you don't, people think, oh, you got to wait for this grand idea to show up, and then the idea is going to be amazing, and you're going to have this perfect view of what it could be, and then you're going to create it. And that is not at all what actually happens. What happens is you start, and then at every step, your creativity just is like, oh, hey, we're doing something. This is really exciting. And so it's like, well, what if we did this? And then so, it comes with curiosity, it comes with experimentation, but it's not going to come when you're just hanging out. You have to actually be doing the thing.
I love the way, like, that's so much more succinct when you say creativity comes with action. Well, that makes sense, and I can embroider that on a pillow. Like, that makes absolute, like I can get there quicker. And I think that resonates with most of us. And I would say that in my community, and for those of in my community who are here right now, let me know if you agree. But we tend to get, I guess, deeper in our creative practice the more that we play, and the more that we just kind of like let go of the outcome, focus more on the destination. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, that feels so true to me, because I didn't make art for so long. Like, I stopped in college. I got a degree in art history, and then I had this thought, and my teachers kind of put this in me too, that I just wasn't good enough. That I didn't have the right skill. I didn't have the right creativity. Like, it wasn't for me. So I just dedicated my life to studying art, looking at other people's art, engaging at other people's art. And what that did to me over the course of 20 years was, like, I thought, okay, art is this beautiful, perfect thing. And then I have to, who am I to create something that wonderful? And I thought you had to, of course, you had to dream it up first, and then you had to have the skill to do it. And it had to be perfect the first time.
And be struck by lightning, Cindy. Struck by lightning, basically. Yeah.
But that's not at all. I had to really deconstruct everything that I thought, and how I started is I was like, okay, we're just gonna play. So I got an art journal. I brought it here so you can see. It's like,
woo! Look at her.
These two things were created in the same year. I finished this the same week I finished my first draft of this. It was really amazing.
I love a good chunky art journal, all messy with like pages sticking out. Like, I love it.
Yeah, I do too. And I would see these online. I'd be like, there's no way I could do that, because they were so beautiful. And I was like,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then I just started, I was like, you know what? maybe I can. And also,
Right.
like, wouldn't it be fun to try? And what I learned is it's fun. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like actually it's not about the end result, that it's
Mhm.
about the doing. And that's what I learned in the book too, is like the transformation in me happened during the writing, not because I published it and have it in my hand. Like, to me, this is almost like a memento of the
Yeah.
time I spent writing, because though that was like the creative process is so exciting and thrilling, and following the nudges that you get and playing
Mhm.
with the words, and same thing with the art journal. Like, you learn more about yourself through the doing, through that
Yeah.
action.
Yeah.
That, and then you start figuring out, like, oh, okay, this is my style. My styles are like maybe a little bit quirky, and I like to do kind of weird things. I like to make things that like make me giggle, you know, like I make
Right.
mosaic dinosaurs and things like that, because it's like I would just want to
You
be
know,
delighted. And so
we
I
just
learned
did
that.
we just did an art journaling retreat this past weekend. We just got done. And some folks in the group were art journalers, and for some, it was new to them. And it was really exciting to see people let go of every page needs to be perfection
Yeah.
and think of it more as like a wildfire, creative playground. And we did all kinds of cool stuff. It was awesome. Our underlying theme and scope was about nature and how nature is inspirational, and it was fabulous. But what I was going to say too is that so your art teachers, professors, sounds like they kind of gave you a bum steer in a way.
Yeah.
And I have experience with that too. My When I was growing up, I thought for sure that I was going to be Broadway bound. I thought I was going to be an actress, and like I had in my mind that that's where I was headed. I was headed to New York. And I went to school on a musical theater scholarship. So there was some validation that I had that skill set. Um, but my dad sat me down one day, and I don't think he intended the outcome that happened. But he goes, it's a really hard road, and you will be faced with rejection, and it might hurt your feelings, and it's going to be challenging. And what my 18-year-old undeveloped brain heard was, Joleen, you're no good at this. And don't,
Mm.
get your hopes up because you're just going to be crushed, And I don't think that was his intention. But that's what my brain heard. And so I quickly changed my major to business, which,
That's a pivot.
I am a successful businesswoman. I shouldn't, but like I am a creative soul, like through and through. And it was just that little poke at my confidence that like changed the trajectory of my life. Now, who is to say if I ever would have made it? That's not the point. But the point is, like, I have really creative children, and one of them is in a death metal band. He's a drummer in a death metal band.
So
And it's so cool, and I'm so proud of him. But when I talk about him, what I think about him is like, I don't care what this becomes, and I hope he doesn't either. I mean, I don't care if I'm his biggest fan from a garage. Like, now is the time in his life, or any time you choose really, to explore what you're passionate about and to like be present to like what lights you up. And sometimes I think about like, I just wonder if my dad would have been like, you can do whatever you want to do, instead of being that voice of reason. I just wonder what it would have been like sometimes. I don't know. You must have experience with this as well, as you just shared.
yeah, I'm like my own children, because my children, of course, I know they're creative geniuses. They just
Yes,
don't
of
know it
course. Hmm.
yet. But one of them wants to be an author, but she's 13, and so I tell her, I'm like, I've read a lot of I tell her about like the books I've read from authors. I've read like Stephen King's book, Anne
Yeah.
Lamont's book, Elizabeth Gilbert, like I've read all those books. And so I tell her, I'm like, it is gonna be a hard road. I was like, Stephen King's, I think Carrie was rejected like 16 times.
Sure.
So I do like try to tell her about that. And like, you do need to make money somehow.
Hmm.
I was like,
Hmm.
but if you keep working at it, you will
Right.
do it. It will happen for you. So
Yeah, I
it's like
think you need
trying
both
to balance
sides.
that line of like
Right.
realism versus
Right.
like, please do your art. Like, that is what you're meant to do.
Right. You need
Um,
both sides of the equation. Like, okay, Dad, thank you for the practicality. Like, that's awesome. But then let's also like bookend that with, go get him. And then Cindy, no joke, like absolutely no kidding. The day I graduated from college, he was like, you kind of surprised me. I really thought you were going to go into music. I'm just like, like, who are you, Mr. Emery? Who are you? Anyway, bygones. I could still do like, community theater or something like that and still like get a little taste. Like that might be kind of fun. So,
Yeah.
okay. So when you get a chance to be action creative, what do you like to turn to?
I discovered Mosaics
Mhm.
about a little over a year ago, and it just has completely taken over my life, and
Sure.
I'm just completely obsessed with it. I love.
And you are glass mosaic on a substrate
Yeah,
of some
glass, usually glass on cradle board.
kind.
Sometimes I'll
Mhm.
work in plates on weddy board, but I've yeah, the wood substrate is my favorite.
Mhm.
I like these little these little things.
Love it. Love it. So, how often do you get to be in your crafty space, artistic space?
I would say at least 4 or 5 days a week. I do it, probably more. I take a class for 3 hours every Monday, and I love that because one, it's still a new medium to me. I think I kind of have a natural talent towards it, and that I didn't
Yeah,
know. But I'm learned there's a lot of things about like, oh, there's a different tool you can use to make that cut better, or
sure.
like what grout color should I use to make this really pop, and that sort of stuff. And then just to be in community with other artists
Yeah,
doing
of
the same
course.
thing is really fun,
And
because I
and
get to do that for
you
them too.
are you good like at puzzles?
Um, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. I I used to do jigsaw puzzles, but I love a logic puzzle, and I think that's what I like about, yeah, it's like
Mhm.
it's creating my own puzzle,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
putting it together, and that's super fun.
Well, for our friends here live, I'm curious, do you all have a favorite project, medium, or technique while Cindy and I are talking about ours? Because yours are mosaic with glass and mine are mosaic with bookboard. And we go in the same direction using different tools and different mediums. I cut with a bandsaw, a guillotine, or just a scissors. And I would imagine you cut with clippers,
They're called, nippers, wheeled nippers.
nippers.
Yep.
And then do you have to sand down sides and
I sometimes I do.
yeah.
I there is a salt like grinder
Oh,
at the
oh,
school.
grinder?
Yeah, but I'm I work really fast, and I'm kind of
Okay.
impatient, and I just like, if I were to
Did you
grind up,
say you're impatient?
yeah, like, I work really they're like, "How are you working so fast?" And I'm just like, "'Cause I just don't care if it's not
Right?
perfect." And so, like, I do have, like, a little grinding stone, like, if
Yep.
there's, like, a piece of glass that's hanging off and I can't get it to fit, I'll use
Mhm.
that. But most of the time, I just use the nippers and get it as good as I
A
can.
lot of my crafty friends, a lot of them, and I know them, they're on the call right now too. They are so impatient, bless their hearts. Like they are like little speed demons. And
Yeah.
like whenever we start a new project, because I have an online craft club, whenever we start a new project, a lot of times they will say, "How long is that gonna take?" How long is that gonna take? And, as I practice the action of being a maker more often, I have really let that go because some of my projects take a month.
Yeah.
It just takes what it takes. So, I too can be impatient, but I've learned to develop patience for the long game, right?
Yeah,
Like, I
I
don't
think
care how long it takes to get it done.
right. I think that's kind of what I like about Mosaic too, is that
Mm,
it does slow me down.
yeah, yeah.
And it makes me more intentional. It makes me more present because, and then I have this like thing that can cut me. So it just makes me more careful. So it's like, it's this beautiful thing. And I also learned in that because I have ADHD, and I've always like, if I start something, I want to finish it.
Yeah.
And when you're writing a book and when you're making a mosaic, you cannot finish it in one sitting. There's no way. I mean, like this little one that I just finished yesterday, I haven't grouted him yet, but like,
okay, wait. Bring back. Slow.
It's so cute.
Oh my gosh.
I'm obsessed with it. But I made it took me, I counted it in Star Trek episodes because I was watching Star Trek. It was 7.5 Star Trek episodes to create this. Like, I guess I could have done it in one day because it's so small. But
I love her. She's beautiful.
Oh
my gosh.
I am so delighted. I've been carrying her around because I just finished her yesterday. I've been carrying her around from room to room.
Of course, I would too.
Room 9 now.
For those of you who are listening and can't see, it's an ostrich, right?
Yep.
And it's like a little 6x6.
Yeah.
It's just exquisite, bright colors, lots of detail, and it looks like squares, but then you go to little baby bits to get the highs and lows and the shadows and the contours. Oh my gosh. I feel like I would have bloody stumps for hands.
Yeah, the little tiny ones. And I have these like big giant fingers. So it's like getting those little tiny pieces when cutting them, like it is something else.
I know. It's like when you said that your artistry and your medium can hurt you. Oh, me too, for sure. I'm using a bandsaw, a scroll saw, a guillotine, a bench grinder. Like, it slows me down, and it doesn't matter how many things I cut, I am on high alert every single time I'm pushing something through, especially my bandsaw, because I catastrophize, right? And I'm like, okay, 1, I'm alone, 2, nobody knows I'm down in my shop, this is not how I go out. Like, this is not my story.
Yeah, you just haven't hit an orrery, like, no.
Right, exactly. Well, my friends,
and I have like little shards of glass like all over the floor in here. My family's kind of scared to come in.
I bet.
And I walk around barefoot. No big deal.
Oh my gosh, Cindy, no. See, I am so accident prone. I would definitely step on a shard, like, for sure, without a doubt. Like, that's just my calling in life, is to just be very, very clumsy. So, well, my friends in the chat here want you to know that that ostrich was adorable, and they love that so much. So thank you for sharing. So what about this? So in your work as a coach, are there themes that come up most often? And are you talking to those of us like in crafty professions, artistry professions, or are you talking to like normal folks too?
Yeah, I'm talking to pretty much anybody, but my soul person, the person that I really want to work with, is the person that has always known that they were an artist, but they didn't. But for some reason, their dad told them that they were going to get rejected, and so they did business. And then they have this in them that they know that
a calling almost.
Yeah. And but they're denying it because of real life, that sort of thing. But that they have that in them, and to like excavate that and get that working, and then create the thing. Because usually most of them have a thing they want to. There's a book that they want to write. There's I have one of my clients wants to make murals, and I have another client who is like making a whole exhibition of her life and telling the story of her life. So it's like they've always, but these people have, one of them worked at a bank. The other one was a school teacher teaching English, like they just were in other careers, but they knew, and they were taking care of other people, all their children, their, and everybody but themselves. So the common theme that comes up is like, the vulnerability of like really letting that out and being seen, because you've hidden that for so long. And then for so many people, I tend to attract a lot of neurodivergent people because I am myself, and I think a lot of creatives are, but that a lot of that was pushed down. Like they were always viewed as too much. And so like they learned, okay, my excitement, my delight, my wonder, like those things overwhelmed people. So I got to shut that down. I got to shut down the bad feelings too. So I just have to stay in this like level. So like the dealing with the feelings of the creative process, because it's not like, yay, we're making mosaics and we're happy the whole time. But it's like, you go through like waves of feelings that are bigger than you've let yourself feel. And so it's kind of like learning to feel those and get through those, and learning to get through the fear, or like, who am I to do this? There's a lot of like, well, this isn't making me money, so is it not, it's not worth it. So getting through like
Value.
productivity culture and
Mm-hmm.
like dismantling that,
Mm-hmm.
that creativity is its own thing, and that it doesn't follow, productivity advice. It's a
Right. Right.
it's a magical, mysterious thing over here that's not the same.
Well, what's
That's
coming
what.
up for me as you describe that is my own experience with like I'm pretty sure that when I was, going off to college and probably before then too, like when people asked me what I wanted to do, I don't believe I had the confidence to say I really want to be an actress. Um I I felt like I wasn't entitled to that dream.
Yeah.
Like, who do you think you are, Joleen, that you think that's what you are destined to be? And
Mhm.
so I kept that pretty close to the vest. I think I told people I wanted to be a lawyer,
Oh
which
god.
I did not.
You didn't. Yeah, but we have all these people who love art,
Right,
who like watch TV and read books and listen to music, like they engage in art all the time, but like they don't translate that to like, there are people who make those, and they don't
right.
value like when someone says they want to be an artist or I'm an artist, though. It's like there's a disconnect. Like, why would
There is.
you shouldn't do that? But
Right,
you engage
right.
in the art all the time. I don't get it. Yeah.
Well, when I have conversations like this, though, I do feel a little inspired to like dabble, right? And and
Mhm.
and to try. And like this dream was so like a part of my convictions for so long. And I mean, I will not even do the math to tell you how long ago I graduated and went to college because honestly, I'm no good at math and I can't carry the one. But it was a while ago. And I still think about it from time to time. So
Yeah, I
I
was
think
gonna say, I was like, I'm gonna find a time to say,
right,
don't we think that Jolie needs to like audition for something
right,
or take an
exactly,
acting class
exactly.
or
Well, and
yeah.
Darren is always saying, my partner, he's always saying, that I should and that I should try and that I should re-engage in this part that I was like so excited about in my youth. But what's interesting is like, and I'm sure you talk about this with your people too, is like now I feel like I need so much more courage. Like that back then, I didn't find it as fearful as I do now. And that's because if creativity is an action and if confidence comes from practice, I'm rusty. I am like out
Yeah.
of practice. So this must come up in your work, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's like I'm envisioning this chart, but it's like
Yeah.
your desire and your want and your longing for
Yeah.
it has been kind of been in you, like growing and
Hmm.
getting bigger and bigger, but then your like actual work in it is,
Right.
down
Right.
here. And so that disconnect is gonna, it's like your that's really that's terrifying to
Right.
imagine. Like, I've got to go back to nothing, and I've got to start from nothing,
Right.
and I have to see like, can I still sing? Can like, but
Right.
if you view it as playful, if you
Hmm.
just, you just like we talked about at the beginning,
Hmm.
experimentation, curiosity, play, um, and just maybe just sing your favorite musical song every day,
Right.
like in the
Reconnect.
shower. And then you like, then you start doing that and you're like, oh, okay, I can do this. And then you just, you like, that's what I do with every mosaic. I'm like, well, what have I not tried yet? Or what
Oh,
what
right.
should I do next that will just push me just a little bit more to,
So
and
so what are
yeah.
you gonna do next? Like,
Oh,
what
I
is
don't know,
your
because
next?
I just, well, actually, I'm gonna do a cockatiel. It's right here. I've drawn it out.
Oh my gosh,
But
wait, 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 hold it back up. Wait, wait. That is so complicated.
oh, it's really not that. It's really
And
not that.
each one of those little sections is gonna be like scary glass.
Yeah, yeah. This is the first time I've like labeled the colors. Good. Well, my challenge. Oh, actually, I am. My challenge on this one is I'm going to try to use as few pieces of glass as possible. I'm going to try to
Oh.
make the shapes and like not
Mhm.
and to see if I can do it like really simply, because I tend to use a lot of really small pieces. And I like that. I like creating those shapes, but I'm like, what if I could do it with bigger shapes and still get the personality of the
Right.
subject?
That's
So that's what I'm gonna
exciting.
try.
So, do you think that glass mosaic is beginner friendly?
Yeah, there's a lot of like brand new beginners that take it.
Okay.
And
Because it
I,
looks intimidating. It looks like, whoa, like, woo, that looks challenging.
it is, but like if anytime someone asks me like, how do you start? I'm like, try to find
Mhm.
a class, because
Yeah.
there's different kinds of glues, there's different kind of tools. There's like, if you're just starting, it's like it could be pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I have like my teacher at the Creative Arts Center is like so awesome, and like and uh and there's been people who have just never done any type of art that come in, and they just like, there
You
was
know,
one girl, she made her cat, and it was awesome. It's like it's it's uh it's not
well,
quite as scary as it looks.
Cindy, I think that's such a great reminder to engage in local extension art center classes and experiences. And like, even if you are, I'm an artist, right?
Mhm.
I still need classes, and I still need to like stretch and explore. And like, I mean, I love being around artsy craftsy people. Like,
Yeah,
those are my people. And
yeah.
I love it. I love this reminder too, to check it out and make the time. And even though, I mean, I offer online classes, and do you as well? Online communities and stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm about to launch one, yeah, but I've done different programs, yeah.
Yeah, and it's great, and I love it, but sometimes there's something pretty magical too about the IRLs and, what that brings.
Yeah, because that I realized, through my art journal, I was like, I think I need to develop some skills. So I took a
Mm.
watercolor class, and it was in the Mosaic classroom. So was
Ah,
surrounded by all the Mosaic stuff. And then I took an
mhm,
illustration class that was also in the Mosaic classroom.
mhm,
And then they had a
mhm.
Mosaic exhibit there. And I was just like, this is, I was just like, I am too curious. I was like, this is so cool. Once I saw all their work and I was like, this is
Yeah,
all what's possible. Because in my head, Mosaics was just like, you take a bunch of squares and you make a picture. Like, it wasn't
the
at
little
all
baby shards that you're working with.
like yeah, it was just kind of felt more like Legos to me. I was like, that looks boring.
Oh,
But
yeah.
once I saw what, like, because people were putting beads on there and like gemstones, and there was all this
Ooh,
cool stuff, and I was like, this is really fun. And so
I I
I took
love the word curious, and,
yeah.
I think that that's like a celebration word, to continue to be curious and to keep, dabbling and exploring, and, I love that, and I would be so curious for my friends who are here live, what kinda classes do you all think about or do you wanna take? Because just even in this conversation, even though I'm very clumsy, I am a little intrigued by this whole glass situation. But I've been getting more interested in um, laser cutting,
Oh,
and, which really scary to me in a way, because again, it's just another power tool that I don't want to burn my house down, but I'm curious, and I'm
yeah.
curious about, all of the opportunities that come when you kinda learn a new part of our craft or crate or trade.
Yeah. Um, I think curiosity is the number one thing, um,
Mhm.
for creativity, because if
Yeah.
you just you listen for when I say listen, like, you're listening to, like, what your
Right, internal, yeah.
feeling. Yeah, like, you're feeling, like, what, like, sparks that little bit of interest or intrigue or something, like, that is telling you something really important, and a
Mhm.
lot of us kind of shut that down. But if you start listening to, like, when that curiosity pops up, like, and you follow it, like, it will lead you to really, really cool places.
Yeah, agreed, and you know what? It almost always does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It doesn't really ever, let me down,
yeah.
when you
I don't
listen
think it
to it?
could, like, because it's kind of, I never thought about it this way. It's like curiosity is like a question your body is asking. and you're providing it the answer by following it, so it's like it's getting satisfied. Your curiosity is kind of constantly getting satisfied if you keep.
That's a great way to look at it, because you can't really go there. Like, you can't go there unless you do it.
Yeah.
You can't scratch that itch of curiosity until you take that action.
Yeah. Yeah. I was curious about art journals for years and years and years and years. And finally I was like, you know what? Why? I just watched these art journal videos online, and I just never thought I could do it. And then once I did, I was like, oh, no wonder I was so curious. Like, this is so fun.
Right. No wonder I was so curious. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Okay. So Cindy, tell us where can we find you? Like, what's coming up for you? Like, what does the future hold?
Oh, I want, like, ideal world, I want to make mosaics all day.
Okay, we are here to acknowledge that and say, yes, ma'am. Nothing wrong with that choice. Yes.
That's all I want to do. And
yes, heard.
That's it. Yeah. But I do love coaching too, but I want to make mosaics all day. So you can find me on TikTok. Is about curiosity, creativity. I also post about curiosity. A little bit of my mosaic stuff I do there. I also post on Instagram and Threads. And then my website is cindyingram.com, where you can find the links to all of that. So I also have we're building out an Etsy shop with all my mosaics, because they're starting to just pile up everywhere. I'm like, I got to do something with all these mosaics. And then I am launching a program this summer called the Summer of Creative Fire. And I have a free workshop coming up on May 29th, which is called Creative Fire Starter. So if you haven't been scratching that curious itch and doing the creative thing, and you feel like, you've got something in you, we're going to talk about how to safely get that out. Because I talk a lot about nervous system safety too. So
that's
feeling
amazing.
Safety. Yeah.
I will be sure that we link that here in our show notes and do all of those things so that all of the lovely people listening can find you. I love this. So that's coming up May. Did you say 29th?
May 29th. Yep.
May 29th. And it was something, say it again, Wild
Creative Fire Starter.
Creative Fire Starter. That's a great name.
We're going with the fire theme.
Yep. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, so before I get to our last segment about, it's very important to my people that I'm going to ask you some questions I ask everybody. But before we get there, so right now on your work table, you are working on the cockatiel.
Yep. And that's I'm going to start him today, because Wednesdays are great because I have meetings and I like to work during the meetings. I get to do both. It's exciting.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah. I'm working on, and I'm also at class. I'm working on a big one, real big. It's I don't remember, but it's at 36 inches or 40. And it's a whole sea scene with an octopus and stuff. And
nice. I can't wait to see the reveal of that. I kind of work in larger environments too. My son, Ray, that you and I were talking about before the show, she's 53 by 34. Oh, nice. So she's a big girl. So what's on my work table? I want to make a bear. Oh. And I don't know why. I am not, in an animal person, I'm kind of my dog. That's my, I love my dog. And I don't have any kind of story or experience with a bear in particular, but I just see this bear and I want to make a bear out of book board and mosaic it like I did my son Ray. And this time I want to try for highs and lows and shadows, because on my last really big piece, I just did color swatches, whereas even with your ostrich, you had high and low value in the feathers on the face. And so you could see that differentiation. So I really want to challenge myself. And it's funny, I don't feel called to do a raven, which is my whole thing. But I really want to do a bear. And it's not I own a lodge or anything. I don't know where this is coming from. I just have a bear. I want to do a bear, and I can't wait to do it. So that's what's coming up next for me, is a great big bear. You should look up
bear symbolism and see.
I should, because I have absolutely no idea where this came from. And I can't stop thinking about it. So now I have to make it.
You have to do it. If you had the idea eating at you,
it is, and I can't stop thinking about it. So and Yeah. I'll leave it there. I was almost about to go in the land of TMI, but whoop, turn back. So, Cindy, one of the things that we do at my show, and it's kind of like our wrap up, and we ask all of our guests the same questions. And you can give one word answers or you can elaborate, but it just gives us a chance to know you even just a little bit better. And they're not very hard questions. The first one is, what is your favorite word?
Oh my goodness.
I should have said they're really hard questions. So you would have been like, oh, those are easy.
My favorite word.
And it could be today, like maybe not forever and ever. Maybe it's just in this moment.
The first word that popped in my head, and I don't know why, is echolalia. and it's like an autism thing where it's like, you kind of repeat yourself a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a word that like feels like it needs to be repeated a lot. So
say it again.
Echolalia.
I don't even know how to spell that word. I don't think I've ever heard that word before.
Echolalia, something like that.
Now I love that word.
Yeah.
It's one of those words that also sounds like is it the onomatopoeia that like sounds like a sound?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it sounds like its definition, which I think is just great.
Great. Exactly.
Very
well,
satisfying.
Right now today, because you said it, my favorite word is curiosity. Because I'm curious about this bear. I'm curious about finding a grout for my book board that's not wet. You and I talked about molding paste. I've also been thinking about hot glue, black hot glue, and then wiping it away. So I'm like curious about mediums today and how I can better like bring my edges together. Because when you don't have grout as a filler, it's so hard like to get things to touch and to line up. So curiosity is where I'm at today.
Love it.
All right. So then do you have a least favorite word?
I feel like I should say something so profound here. Okay, hold on. Let me think. I do. So I'm like trying to get the word out of the situation that like,
it's like a cliffhanger.
I know. I should have studied in advance to have questions. Okay. Least favorite word.
Yeah.
It's like, so sometimes I can't get words around a feeling in my body, and I'm like, I have the feeling, but I'm like, what is the word around the feeling?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you mine. Maybe that will help.
Yeah, you go first.
So mine today, it's so dumb, and I don't know why. But you know how sometimes you hear a word, and the more you hear it, the weirder it sounds?
Yeah.
Today, my word is toilet. And I don't know why. I think it's because we've been cleaning so much. And I'm just like, toilet. Like, toilet. Like, it doesn't sound... It sounds prettier than it actually is. And so it's leaving me confused. And so I've been cleaning a lot of them. So I think that's why it's like toilet is in the top of my mind. So like right now, I'm not really digging it. See how profound I am? I'm so deep.
I know. I was like, I've got to have something really good here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, like the first thing I could think of is stupid.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like when I think there's so many different like types of intelligence, and there's so many ways of being that I can't think of any situation where that word actually is appropriate to call yourself or something, because it's like, maybe that, I guess that would be
unless of course it's walking around your studio where you're cutting glass and you're not wearing shoes. I mean,
you got me there.
Maybe we could try it on for size there.
But maybe. I only have one blood stain on the carpet. Only one.
Because that is totally something I would do. Like I would like do something like that. Like I was we were doing some eco print and we were out boiling the eco prints in this big like cauldron over a fire. And I was like moving things around in the fire grate and I looked down and I'm wearing flip-flops. Just like, it was a moment.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
that makes sense.
yeah, like it's
I was in art class the other day and I was putting, because I have this big board and you have to, before you mosaic on it, you have to put the hangers.
yeah.
Because once you mosaic, you can't do it. And so I have these little they're, I forgot what they're called, cleats or something, but you put it on there and then you have to kind of hammer it in.
Yes.
And I I had it like hanging over the edge, and then I like hammered my finger. I still have like a blood spot here that won't go away.
I love
So maybe that was stupid. You're right.
I mean situations, like things you do, not people, right? Like things
right.
like yeah, like totally. Like not as a name you would
when
call
you know better.
Right. Right.
But I'm still gonna walk around in barefoot in my
I know, me too. Me too. And then I'm gonna think of it later when I like hurt myself. Okay, what about this? What about this? What is the best kind of sandwich?
I would say I like a Italian sandwich with like, all the different Italian meats and like the spicy pepper, like the giardiniera, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So Darren and I were traveling in March. We had a business trip to North Carolina and we were gone like 10 days, 12 days, something like that. And when we landed, it was a very full day of travel. Like it was 2.5 hours from our house to the airport. You got to get there 2 hours early. It was a flight. We were delayed. We had to drive. So it had been like a very long time in between nourishment. And we stopped at a Wawa. Do you have Wawas?
I've seen them when I've traveled, but yeah, we don't have them.
So it's like fancy, like fancy gas station. And inside they have like a full like sandwich bar kind of situation.
Wow.
And like you order your sandwich. And I don't know if it's because we were so hungry or if this was like the world's best sandwich, but it was exactly like you were describing. It was like spicy meat and jalapenos and then onions and lettuce and then like some cheese and some saucy stuff. And I ate a lot of that sandwich, Cindy. I did. I ate a whole lot of it. It was so good. Because usually I'm like, oh, I'll just have the veggie wrap. But, not this day. I was like, I want all of that Joey Tribbiani business. Like, I was so excited.
When you mentioned traveling, though, I was like, wait, I forgot about the sandwiches in Paris that are just like a baguette and butter and ham.
Yes.
And
simple.
Like, oh, gosh, that's really good.
Yeah.
And I've tried like some stuff like that here, and
it's not the same. You got to have the right bread with like all the craters and stuff in it, like for sure. Yeah. My favorite food is toast. Like my favorite meal, hands down, is toast. And I think that toast is just a vessel for like really great ideas. And Prue from the British Baking Show, she has a book called On Toast, and it's so good. It is so good. It's like the best book. I know. I'll get you the links. I'll get you.
Like I'm writing this down.
It's amazing. And in there, like page 1, get this, Cindy. This is her idea. Her idea is crusty bread, brie, arugula, like spicy duck sauce, and blackberries. Page 1.
What?
Page 1. It's so good. Like I dream about this toast. It's absolutely delicious. And if you don't have brie laying around, I just use like Laughing Cow or something else that's soft.
Yeah.
But it's the blackberries and the arugula, the peppery arugula mixed with the duck sauce and then the crunchy of the toast. I'm telling you, I just changed your life. It is like
you did. I was like, I'm a guy. I love toast too. I eat toast every day. It's like my comfort food.
I know, right? I love it. I love it so much. Okay. Sorry, I digress. I think it's getting close to lunchtime because I'm like, I wonder if we have all those ingredients. Okay.
I definitely don't, but I will soon.
Okay. So next one. Do you believe there is a scary animal? And if so, what is that scary animal?
Well, in real life, the scariest animal I have encountered is actually an ostrich, which is really funny that I just made an ostrich.
No, mosaic. I believe that. I've seen videos. Yes, I believe this. Yes.
We went through one of those drive-through safari things,
Yep, where you
and then
feed
you can
them and
like pick
stuff.
the animals.
Yeah.
Like those ostriches were aggressive, and they were like trying to get their heads in the car. We'd roll the window down, and I'm like, those things can peck your whole face off, like
Right.
goodness. And they're so fast, and you can expect them, and they've got these big talons. I don't know. There's probably a lot of scary animals, but that one was particularly
I feel
scary.
like I'm never afraid of like domestic animals. Like that doesn't really, give me any kind of whoop whoop. But sometimes we have had a couple of really aggressive chickens. Um,
Mm.
Romeo and Robin were two of our roosters. And like, when you get chickens from the hatchery or the elevator, like we don't request roosters, we just request hens, and they become a part of our little family here on the farm, and life is really peaceful. But the way in which they sex chickens isn't an exact science. And so in all of the chickens that we've ordered, we've had 4 roosters. And we tried to keep Romeo and Robin until you would walk away and they would like peck your leg, and they would peck it so hard. It's only when your back was turned, and they would peck your leg so hard it would bleed. And so like I would be like walking backwards around my chickens, and I'm like, I cannot have this in a place where I have guests. Like I can't be like, watch out for the killer rooster outside. So
Well, birds are ancestors of, or dinosaurs are ancestors of birds. Like they're basically dinosaurs.
Completely true. Yes.
Yeah.
So we had another farmer come and get our roosters because, roosters have a job, and that's to protect their flock. And like, they're really, really good at it, but they were attacking both Darren and I. And so I was afraid of my stupid chickens for like the longest time because it was like a battle out there.
It drew blood. Yeah.
It did more than once. And so anyway, I'm sure Romeo and Robin are doing well on their new farm. And I know that's what happened. Like I know because they were, brought over there to be protectors. So I have a clear conscience that they are still of this world. So
you could have just eaten Romeo. And you
right. Yeah.
chose
But no,
not
we didn't
to.
do that. Okay. So now more serious. Kind of, what does being an artist mean to you?
It is like coming home to myself.
Yeah.
It's like being the most true and most authentic version of me, and who I've always been. Yeah, I would say that.
I totally agree. And I think that, as I've shared today, that like I thought I was an actress. I thought that like I have always had like creativity drives my existence. And it served me well in life and business. Like I have no complaints about how it all worked out. But it wasn't until I started kind of like my full-time social media stuff, honestly, that I felt empowered to identify as artist first. And when I did that, I kind of got a lot of clarity in that it's kind of how I approach everything, in that there's a creative solution in business challenges. There are creative solutions in our home. And it's the creativity that's my magic, right? And that's how, it's the definition of that where I feel the most liberated.
Yes.
You
I
know?
did too with my business. I was like, what if I viewed my business as an art project? And
Right.
that has changed my whole relationship with
Me
social
too.
media, with everything.
Agreed. Totally agreed. All right. Is there a sound or a noise that you love?
Yes. Hold on. One thunder, which you might have been hearing.
Is it gonna be the clippers? Is it gonna be the nippers?
No, it's gonna be this
Oh,
is the
you're gonna
glass.
shake it. You're gonna shake it. Yeah.
It's not just the way the glass, when you shake it, like this kind of clinks.
Yeah.
And it goes, and like, or when you're like digging through looking for a particular color, very carefully because so you don't cut your fingers. But like,
because it can hurt you.
That sound.
That's a good sound. That's a really good sound.
And thunder, which you might have been hearing.
Yeah, because we've had some weather lately. Thunder's a good one.
Yeah.
So mine actually happened yesterday. I had a phone date with my oldest son, and so I was on the phone with Jack, and my other two of my other kids were there at the same time in the kitchen, and um, hearing the interaction between them when I wasn't really a part of it, um, it was so great, and Georgie and Charlie started roughhousing. They were kind of wrestling, and Jack took on an accent of like a mom from the South. And he was saying things like, and I heard my words come out of his mouth, and he was like, what are you all doing? And, with an accent, of course, and somebody's going to get hurt. And then he said, you should quit 5 minutes before you think you should. Those words, Cindy, came out of my mouth every day when they were at home. Like, you should always stop 5 minutes before you do. And just hearing their adult interaction and joy with each other, I honestly almost started to cry because it was just so beautiful. And, it's like, I know I don't have perfect children and I wouldn't expect that either. But it was a perfect moment of just being in observation of how stinking awesome they are.
Yeah,
I
I
loved
love
it.
that. I have a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old, and they
Mhm.
used to be a lot closer, but now they're sort of, a little bit realizing their differences. But like every now and then we'll hear them together, and me and my husband are just down there listening, and we're just like,
Yeah,
oh, you're so wonderful. Listen to
I
them
know,
be
right?
me.
And it's like, and you don't want to be a part of it, right? Like, I didn't want to
Yeah,
be a part. I just wanted to listen and
yeah.
enjoy these wonderful humans that I made. Back to me. Yeah. So, is there a sound or a noise that you hate?
Oh, there's so many.
I know, right? Me
I'm
too.
very sensitive to sound.
So am
Styrofoam
I.
is probably the worst. And
Mhm.
fingers touching balloon. Can we talk about little toddler fingers holding a balloon?
And it makes that, yeah. Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm.
Ugh. Like I have goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yes,
Like, okay, so
yes.
that's all. There's more, but like I'm
Oh,
already upset by those two.
I am so sensitive to sound, and I honestly don't know if I've always been like this or if I'm just finally noticing. Um, but like I've said before, like the haptics on a phone,
Mm.
like when someone's texting and they are a complete psychopath to leave that sound on.
Leave the sound on. Why? Why
Like,
keep your
why?
sound on?
Like, why do you do that? Like, that's not a thing we do. Like, that's completely insane. So I don't like that one. And when my husband is sharpening knives, I'm like, give a girl a warning. Like, let me know. I will go to another building. I will leave the state. I do not need to be around that sound. Like, I hate it so much. Or
My
sometimes
husband
he'll
has a
do it.
pocket knife that he fidgets with, and he flicks it open, and then he flicks it back, and then he flicks it open, and he flicks it back, and I'm just like standing there. I'm like, so I just always leave the room. I'm like, first you're gonna cut yourself, and second that noise is going to kill me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when Darren did it yesterday, he like went, over the boning, honing, whatever the thing is called. And he looked up really quick and he went, "Oh, sorry." And I was like, "You knew I was here." Like I was here the whole time. Like it would have taken nothing at all to like give a girl some warning. But they-
I get it.
we
So
forgive
much
them. We
people.
forgive them for their stupid. No. Okay. Other than the profession that you are in, is there anything you would like to attempt? Like
Oh,
other than what
I'm curious about so many different things.
mhm.
I really love what's the type of engineering that it's called? Industrial engineering, where it's
Oh,
like you do processes like kind of like logistics. It's kind of like
you
problem solving of
you
like,
do have a sciencey mind.
yeah, I do. And so that's
Yeah,
why I was like, yeah,
academic.
Mosaic's perfect. Um, I always found like economics really interesting. I almost majored in economics. That's the same thing. It's just like seeing patterns, seeing big
Yeah.
picture. Like I really love that. I used to every time I watch the Olympics, I'm just like, who planned out where
Yes.
everybody should be and when and in what order they should arrive in, and like master schedules for schools. I'm always like, ooh, that'd be fun. Figuring out what like
Cindy, another
It's
piece just like fell from the sky into like the descriptions of like why you are how you are and why you like mosaics, because you're like urban planning, ooh, or like complicated schedules. I'm intrigued. Like I just love that.
I worked in the urban development floor of the public library at one point in my 20s. It's fascinating.
I love how you're like, ooh, that's so like sexy and exciting.
Like I'm in a drive-through and I'm like, how did they plan exactly how long to make the drive-through? Like I'm always just thinking about that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. I haven't really been like dabbling or dreaming about professions lately, because I'm kind of distracted with the ones that I'm in. But I do wonder, like, so again, when I'm coming up and coming through, like I didn't know that mixed media artistry was like an option. Because I can't draw for garbage. Like I don't have like refined skills. So like you would want me as your Pictionary partner because I'm a hell of a guesser. Like I'm so good. Like one time, I mean, I remember it was 25 years ago. My friend Janine, she drew like a mountain and I went Matterhorn, like who gets that? Like I'm such a good guesser. So you'd want me on your team for that, but I cannot even draw a cat. Like I have no skills. So, but I wish I would have known that you can still make art with paper and glue and wood and the whole mixed media thing. So like an artistry in residence or something like where all you're doing is like, is that a job? Like where you're just crafting and creating all day? Like you said, making mosaics all day. Like if that's a job, I want that job.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. Are they jobs? Is there an Indeed board for that?
I think you have to like video it and put on social media and like all that.
It's the thing we do now. Oh, okay.
The job we already have.
Yeah, that's the job we already have. Yeah, no. I just want someone to pay me to like play with my toys. Like that's all.
Yeah.
I don't think that's so big of an ask. I think that's like reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, one more or two more. Is there a profession that you're like, whoop, nope, not that one, not that job?
I don't want to be like a corporate lawyer.
That's fair.
At contracts all day.
Yeah, that's fair.
My sister does that and she just looks at contracts. I'm like, no way.
Oh, that doesn't sound engaging, right? That sounds a little.
She loves it and is great at it.
That's great. Then she picked the right thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the fortitude to do anything gross or smelly.
Oh, yeah.
Like I know myself. Like I don't even really like to camp, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't like any of that stuff. Okay, finally, last question. Since this is the Happy Time Craftcast, what brings you the most happiness?
Making mosaics.
Because you just want to do it all day.
Yeah. I'm like, can we finish so I can
Yeah.
I need to be making mosaics right now. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that you said that. That's so smart. Yeah. So it is connecting with your art form.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I also love my children. They bring me happiness, whatever, but like mosaics.
I should actually preface that question too by saying, of course you love your family. Of course you're a wonderful mom. Like, let's get that out of the way. After that, then what is it? And for you, it's making mosaics. And I'll do the same. Like, okay, I love my children. They're awesome. After them, I would say I'm probably the most happy being creative in a community. Yeah. So I love making, of course, but sometimes the isolation of making alone, I like it even more when I am doing it with other people around.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes me think too. It's like, I also love like group programs that I run, like I've done teacher trainings and, like I really love bringing people together to talk about art.
Yep. Me too. And I love artists coming to my home and like, doing the stuff and having the conversation salon, which I learned from my good friend Natalie. And like, I love that whole thing. And I also love being in observance of adults being curious and trying and like letting go of, it's like, it's the first time I tried this art journal thing. And what do you mean I can't, hang this in a museum, like when they let that go and they just play, that's so great to be like
Yeah,
in community with. So I love that.
totally.
Awesome.
Agreed.
Well, Cindy, if you can believe it, we are out of time. Time went so fast. And thank you so much. I've had so much fun. I
Me
just love
too.
that this is my job. Like, I love that.
I
Like, I'm
know.
so
Me
lucky.
too.
So, but we will be sure to link in our show notes all of the places and spaces where people can find you, your book, your course, when you get the whole Etsy thing up and running, we will make sure that you are easy to find. For those of you listening live today and later on iTunes, thank you so much for your support of the Happy Time Craftcast. And I will see you back on May 7th, where we are going to be talking about the launch of a new product, heart mosaics. And we're actually going to be doing some live making. So that should be fun.
Oh,
So,
cool.
Cindy, thank you. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. It was great. Thank you so much for having me.
My absolute pleasure. All right, everybody, you take care until next time. Bye-bye.